welcome back to Letting Off Steam. I'm your host, Kashvi, joined by my co-host,
Dakshita, nice to see you.
and today we will be exploring the wonderful world of computer science. Today we are joined by our guest, Utkarsh Mall. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. So, as Kashi said, I'm Utkarsh and I'm a PhD student at Cornell University. I'm here in the Ithaca campus in the state of New York. Research wise, I'm interested in computer vision. And if you're not familiar with the area, essentially it means teaching computers how to see and understand the world around us. I'm right now in my final year of my graduate studies, and yeah, I'm about to graduate. And after this, I'm heading to Columbia University, which is in New York City, and I'm going to be a researcher there in computer vision.
Mm-hmm. That sounds amazing. To start with, could you please tell us what inspired you to choose computer science as a field of study?
Right. So I think one of the biggest motivation for me back when I was in high school was basically looking at video games, and also not just the video games, but all the cool animations and the visual effects that we had in movies. So, for example, all three Iron Man came out while I was in my high school. The first Avatar came around the same time. So, I mean, these movies were just so inspiring about how much you can do by learning computer science and how much of that you can apply to the real world and in the areas of movies and entertainment. So yeah, that was part of the reason why I was so motivated about learning computer science and how I can apply those stuff to movies and video games.
I'm sure those reasons are very relatable to a lot of people listening.
Yeah.
So computer science is such a broad field. What section of computer science do you think interests you the most?
So one of the nice aspects of CS is that it falls under the purview of both science and also engineering. So what I'm trying to say by this is basically that there is something nice for everyone in computer science. So I can try to give an answer from both of those perspectives. So for example, firstly, many of the people in computer science they work purely on the theoretical aspects. So for example, there are researchers that are working on things that are as fundamental as theoretical physics or mathematics. So if you're interested in the fundamentals of sciences, there is a place for you in computer science. Secondly, this is a part where I come in, which is basically from the purview of engineering. So yeah, if you are interested in engineering, there is a place for you also in computer science. So for example, you can be working on building new hardware, such as faster computers, newer kind of robots, or new drones, which also falls under computer science. You can also be working on new software, such as a new chatbot. Are you guys familiar with the Chat GPT, which has become really popular? So that is, for example, one of such things that you can work on. You can also work on new types of visual effects. So, for example, the new Avatar, the Avatar 2 that came out, it had a completely different way of modeling water around us and how to do visual effects of water. So yeah, there is something for everyone. Yeah, you can also fairly easily switch areas. That is also another thing that I really like about computer science. So if you're not interested in something, you have worked on it for a few years, you don't like it, there is a lot of other things to do on top of that. So for example, in my undergrad, I was really interested in computer graphics, as I said before. So I was basically working on building new tools that can help in game development. But now I'm working on completely different things. So as I said, I'm working on computer vision, and I'm working on more broadly on applying how to use such things to help environment or urban planning or things like that. So yeah, and another good thing about CS is basically that as a result of this being so diverse, it opens up a lot of diverse career opportunities. So you'll have things to do wherever you go.
Mm-hmm. As I'm sure you're aware, computer science is a pretty hard degree. So while pursuing computer science, what were some notable obstacles you saw and you overcame?
I see. So Yeah, one of the biggest problem that I faced initially was basically not knowing any programming before starting as a CS major. So, like, part of the reason for this is also that my schooling was in India, where computer science is still not given a lot of importance during the high school years. So, and programming is very fundamental to CS. So, I mean, there are a lot of interesting things to do in CS, but a, a lot of them you cannot do without knowing programming. So, and like any other skill, it also requires a lot of practice. So, yeah, if you do not know coding, the first few years require like a bit more time commitment while you are in a CS major. But yeah, basically, just like any other skill, you can pick it up. It's just that you need a lot more time commitment. Yeah, during my like CS major, another thing that like I guess this is something all CS major face is basically that what you learn while you're in university is very different from what you are going to be like applying when you work on like when you go to a job or when you head out for internship. And the reason is basically that CS is like a really fast moving area. So I mean in colleges what we are studying is basically the fundamentals, but like when you go ahead and apply them in industry, sorry, it is really different. So I mean, yeah, basically to overcome this, what you need to do is like just get a lot of industry experience, do a lot of summer internships, and yeah, get a feel for what all different industries are doing.
So that's some great advice. We know that you're at Cornell currently. So how's like the course at Cornell specifically like for you? And like,
Right. Mhm. Yeah, so I mean, I should preface first by saying that like CS at Cornell is really awesome. Like it is one of the like best places to get like a degree in computer science and also engineering in general out of like all the Ivy Leagues, and like not just the Ivy Leagues, but it is one of the best places across the whole of United States. So to give a bit of a historical background, again going back to computer graphics, Cornell is essentially the birthplace of computer graphics. So, like many of the early technologies, for example, video games and animations, were practically developed at Cornell. In fact, like many of our professors have like won a technical Oscars award for like movies such as Lord of the Rings and Toy Story. So there is a rich history of computer science at Cornell. Also, the first neural networks were developed here. So like basically, yeah, Cornell has a big contribution in the development of modern artificial intelligence. So whatever you are seeing today in terms of artificial intelligence, yeah, Cornell had a big role to play in that. Coming back to the modern times, I guess, yeah. So like CS is given a lot of importance on the campus, and the reason for this is basically that, yeah. It has a lot of applications in multiple different areas, right? So, like, even though we are studying as a CS major, you could apply it to virtually or literally any other area. And because of that, yeah, it's given a lot of importance. There are a lot of majors, a lot of students who are majors in CS. So, for example, last year, more than 400 people did a major in computer science here at Cornell. There's also this number is like not just a constant 400, it is increasing, and I'm assuming it would get to 500 this year. So yeah, so there is a rising popularity, and the department also encourages like the CS major to do a lot of interdisciplinary work. So what I mean by that is basically the department encourages you to do a double major or a minor in CS along with some other areas such as linguistics, psychology. Some people also like do a double major with maths or physics or like chemistry. So basically the fundamental sciences. Yeah, and yeah, another thing is that Cornell's motto is any person, any study. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but basically what this means is that like even though CS is really popular, there is no upper limit or like a major cap on how many people can enroll in CS. So I mean, this number could potentially go up to as high as 1,000 by the time, yeah, like by the next over the next few years. But there is no upper cap. Like Cornell always encourages people to choose their major and do whatever they want. And finally, yeah, in terms of like, sorry, in terms of course structure, if you want to know about that, basically the CS major is pretty straightforward. You have to do a few fundamental courses that you have to take. So I think the number is around 5, and it includes things like operating systems, programming languages, and some theoretical courses. But other than that, you are like basically free to choose from a wide variety of courses. So, for example, Cornell offers more than 70 courses every semester just in computer science. And yeah, some of them are core CS, but other are very interdisciplinary. So, like, you're free to choose whatever you want and design your own major while you are in CS.
Oh wow, Cornell sounds amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, it is amazing.
It sounds amazing. So in your opinion, I know you touched on it a little just now, but what future applications do you think computer science has?
Yeah. So in terms of application, like in my opinion, it's basically endless. There are like just so many areas that touch computer science, and like all of them seem very promising. So yeah, to just build on what we have seen over the last decade, we have seen like this big revolution in artificial intelligence that everyone in the world can see that like now artificial intelligence seems to be working. So like we have solved many problems in language. So yeah, this is coming back to the example with ChatGPT. And also there are also similar models in computer vision. I don't know if you're familiar with DALI 2 or Mid Journey, like for the tools for generating images. So yeah, we have seen some big things even in that area. So and in my opinion, the next step is to use such things to build better robots. So robotics is one of the areas in artificial intelligence that we are not doing so great right now, but it seems to be catching up to other areas. So yeah, I believe that like over the next decade, we'll see some really big robotic applications. So basically what we want to do is the robot should be using these language models and these vision models to interact with the world around them, and not just the world, but also humans and other robots. So yeah, there should be good interaction between all of these things. Uh, there could also be potential huge applications in like the area of sustainability. So for example, climate change is a big issue that is a problem for all of us as a planet, and researchers are looking at ways to tackle it and like also solve the sustainable development goals by using computer science or like artificial intelligence. So for example, to like right now AI is being used for like accurate weather prediction and understanding basically how crops grow, right? Another big direction is medicine. So the same AI tools that, I don't know if you remember this, but like Google built an AI that could basically beat humans really well at chess and Go, which are board games. But like the same tools are now being used for drug discovery that can lead to like cure of many diseases. And like all of these directions are really promising, and all of this can have a huge impact of human life in the future.
Yeah.
So there's obviously so many applications for computer science today. It's a very popular major. So you mentioned that you went to IIT before you went to Cornell. How does student life in IIT differ from Cornell? And do you have any advice for any students making that change?
Right. So like in terms of life, I think I can give you like my more recent experiences first. So at Cornell, and I mean my life here is coming from a graduate student perspective, so some of this might not be very representative or like very useful for an incoming undergrad student, but still, I mean a lot of these things still apply. So so yeah, like some part of it I think might be useful. Okay, so like Ithaca is the town where Cornell University is based. It's a very small town in upstate New York. So it's so small that like the population here is just above 30,000, and Cornell's campus has essentially 10,000 students plus faculty. So I mean, essentially we are building 33% of the of the city. So in some ways, this is very nice because like the city is basically built around student. So you find a lot of places with like young crowd, and it is not very difficult to socialize and make new friends. The town is also like far away from the hustle and bustle of a big city. So and because of this, the campus has like a lot of space to do things. So for example, example, it is very easy to find empty tennis courts or empty tennis courts and rec rooms where you can do whatever you want. But it's basically we have a lot of space. There are also way too many clubs that you can be a part of, and all of this is possible because we have so much room. There are also like many dorms on the campus where like student can like live and also find diverse people with different majors. And the campus is really, really beautiful. So it's basically situated on a hill on top of a lake. So I mean, like it's really nice to look at sunsets during the summer, which happen like around 9 p.m. So you get a lot of daytime in summers. Uh, in winters you can experience snow, which is another thing which you might not be experiencing right now. But yeah, sometimes it is too much, but I mean it's really amazing when you first get here. uh yeah, other than this, I think, yeah, one of the big difference at Cornell from a lot of other universities is that we have really nice outdoor recreation clubs. And again, that is possible because we are here in upstate New York. So you can join very interesting clubs, and you can take very interesting courses such as skiing or sailing or mountaineering. So yeah, if you're interested in any of the outdoor stuff, Cornell is a very nice place to do all of that. Yeah.
So I just wanted to say, do you have any valuable advice for students who might be listening today, or students who might be considering the computer science course?
Yeah. So I mean, I have a few set of advice. I'll try to give them in the order of importance. So the first one is basically like always be in the mindset to like learn new things. Like this is one of the pieces of advice that I wish I would have gotten when I was starting my major. And I mean, this is a very broad piece of advice because I mean, in general, it applies to a lot of areas in the world. Like you should never stop learning. But I think this applies even more as a to a CS major. And the reason is basically that computer science is a very fast changing and ever evolving area. So like whatever you are studying today might not even be applicable 2 years down the line. So you always have to be on top of things, keep on learning new stuff, and yeah, like always figuring out what is the next big thing and work on that. And and that would be the way to innovate and find new stuff to work on. Yeah, another piece of advice is basically while you are pursuing a CS major, is that like you should not stay in that CS bubble while you are studying. So basically, yeah, it's great to make friends in CS. It would help you a lot while you're doing your projects and assignments or courses. But at the same time, you should try and make friends outside of CS. So to give a few example, like people are using CS to tackle like big problems, as I have stated before. Uh, like, yeah, there are so many environmental problems that people are solving using CS. CS is being used in pretty much all the financial firms and also in other applications, including fundamental sciences like maths and biology, right? It even has applications in art. So yeah, we have like I did talk about movies and video games, but you can also create new music by using computer science. So yeah, after getting a degree in computer science, you might become very great at solving problems using computers, but like you need to make friends in other areas and try to understand what problems they're aiming to solve so that you can like understand how to apply computer science in those areas. So yeah, and that is one of the nice things about being at like such a large and diverse campus here at Cornell, that yeah, you get to meet a lot of people who are working in different areas and yeah, make friends with them, think about the problems they are working on and how you can work on that using CS.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the last advice is also very general, but like experience everything that computer science has to offer. So, for example, while you are in university, try different types of courses, try working on different types of projects. While you're like during your summer internships, like try as many different industries or as many different areas as possible. So there is a lot of research that is happening in tech companies, and yeah, internships are a great way to understand and experience what is going on there. It also helps you figure out which places are you like and where would you like to end up to. So yeah, experience everything CS has to offer.
Mhm. Wow, that's wonderful advice that certainly inspires us and hopefully all the listeners here.
Thank you so much, Utkarsh, for joining us today. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in, and we hope to see you guys next week. Thank you so much.